Hi. So we are continuing our journey of DynamoDB from previous video. And in this video, we are going to see about indexes. So there are a lot of terminologies in DynamoDB like primary index, secondary index, local secondary index, global secondary index, partition key, primary key, sort key, and when to use it, how to use it, how to optimize it. So this is lot of things and we will try to sort it out and get it clear what it is. So we will start with a database, which is a simple database. And from this database, we will see all the terminologies and how it works. So this database is simple. It has ISBN of a book, price of a book, publishing date, title, list of authors and pages. So this is very simple database and we will see how it evolves with lot of indexes on top of it. So when we start using any table in DynamoDB, so books is a table and ISBN is a partition key, price is a sort key, and it together forms a primary key. This is very simple. So what is partition key? So basically ISBN value is hashed and it is sent into a particular compartment of a table. So that's why it is called a partition, because that partition key acts as a basis for hashing and choosing a partition in database. Then what is the sort key? So after having a partition key, we can sort values in that particular partition, under that particular partition key. So suppose we have a single ISBN for a book, but different prices, because we are selling those same book in different countries under different prices. So it may be having different USD, different CAD, different INR, whatever may be. So together it forms a primary key. So why this primary key is important? Because one primary key, either partition key if defined only or along with sort key, defines a particular row or particular document in a table which is unique. So primary key gives a uniqueness to every document, and that is very essential. And so this is helpful where we want to run a query like give me a book whose ISBN is 123. So this is a particular primary key and it gives uniqueness. The partition key can be duplicated if sort key is different for each partition key. So together they form a uniqueness and forms a primary key. So we can have just partition key without sort key. So partition key and primary key become same in that case. So what is primary index? So index of any kind is what is index in short. So in DynamoDB or especially in any database, index is a table which is maintained internally by the database. So you don't have any access to those tables, but essentially index is a table. That is very simple, simple thing, small thing. And if you remember that, the matter become very simple. So what is a primary index? It is a table which contains just primary key. And primary key can be partition key and sort key or only partition key. So when we think of primary index, it is a table, separate table maintained in a DynamoDB database where it is containing only a primary key. That is just simple. So why that is needed? We will see it in next video, how to run a query, how to optimize a query. But simply speaking, when we have this table, we can just go through this table and find our rows or find our documents very easily without going through all the documents. And that is the main thing of primary index. And if we do not have a sort key, partition key and primary key are essentially the same. And the primary index or the table which is primary index contains just our partition key. That's all, nothing more than that. Now we will see what is local secondary index. So we have seen the primary index. Now we are coming to secondary index. So with local secondary index, we have same partition key but different sort key. So why this is required? Suppose we want to sort the ISBN or books according to publishing date or any other column or any other attribute. Then at that case we use local secondary index. And how that local secondary index is stored inside the database, that is, it just contains a partition key and a sort key. Partition key is common with primary index and sort key is different, and these together form a local secondary index. Then what is global secondary index? In that case, we have a different partition key and different sort key. So this is totally different from our primary index, because now we are not going to do anything with ISBN number. We are using partition key which is different from our primary key and a different sort key. So this is basically a global secondary index. And when we look at the table of that index, it contains global secondary index, that is GSI partition key, GSI sort key, and then why it is containing primary key? Because this GSI partition key and sort key do not provide any type of uniqueness to this table. So the database internally adds this primary key to those two columns or attributes, and it forms a table of index. And we will see how it is useful, because when we are trying to get any query along the title, like get me something where the title is this. So in that case, it finds the title, then it finds a primary key associated with it, then it goes to main table and then find a particular document or particular row from that database. This is how it makes the query very fast, and that is why we are using global secondary index. Now I will talk about global secondary index projections. The projections are of three types, and I will show how it works. So we have this DynamoDB in AWS console. These are tables. This is a particular table, and these are indexes, and these are global secondary indexes. We cannot define local secondary indexes once we create a table. So we can now create a global secondary index. So create index, where it asks for a partition key, sort key, name of the index, type of data of primary key and sort key. And now this is a projection I will show. So these are attribute projections. What does that mean? Is what attributes or what columns we can include inside that index. So there are three choices: all, only keys, and include. So I will explain how it works. So this is global secondary index projection and only keys. So when we have only key, it has a JSI partition key or sort key if it is provided, and primary key for reference. So it just have only keys. So where we use this type of projection, like get a count of books where title is something like this. So in that case, if we are using just a count or count of all titles, then we do not need anything else. Only these two columns or three columns are sufficient. And this table of index of global secondary index with only keys projection is sufficient to give answer to our queries. So this is very efficient way to get a query done. Then this is a JSI projection with all attributes included. So essentially in background, that index duplicates everything because we are using all the keys. Is it efficient? Essentially no, because we are including everything and we are not optimizing it. But this can be useful, like if we want to have all the attributes together, like give me everything related to ISBN number 1, 2, 3. So we had to get all the document or every attribute of that row. In that case, all projection is essential or required. And if we have to use select means include, or we will say we want this attribute and we do not want this attribute, like that we can choose. So in this case we are choosing title, publish date, price. So this is a projection of selected, like only this is included and others are excluded. And this all depends on what you want, what query you want to run. And this is how we have to design our local secondary index and global secondary index to optimize our query, still reducing our costs. And in next video, we will see how to use scan, query, get item, batch get item, filter expression, key condition. So this is how we query the DynamoDB table, and we will go through everything and see how it works. So thank you for your cooperation and seeing the video. Bye.